how do you eliminate cutting out worthless meetings in your agency? And how do you prevent that knowledge gap when one person built something a long time ago, but the only way to now fix what they did is you have to go and ask them to how they went and build something. A lot of these things happen in high level where there's a lot of miscommunication and there's a lot of wasted effort because it's really easy to build things, but it's really difficult to manage those things over time and without having a lot of manual meetings, without having a lot of emailing people, slacking people, asking what was going on and how do things work. So for that, I wanted to just show you just a quick sample of what's happening in agencies right now. So you might have, say, we'll just say a team member. Woo, member. And that person is onboarding or building things for client one. And we got maybe client two happening. And that person understands what happened because they probably talked to the client. They probably built something for them. They've maybe been working with them for a while. And it's so really good. But then what happens is that this now team member is essential for these clients' projects to work because most people in high level don't write anything down, or if they do write things down, it's in a convoluted, long-winded way that it might as well, you still have to go in and actually know what's happening. And this also happens if you're the founder of your agency, right? Maybe you start as a one-person operation and then you start building out multiple clients. Maybe you start getting more and more clients. But what happens is the more clients you get, the more knowledge that you're responsible. And it's like a weighing you down. If you just imagine gravity here pushing down, right? The more clients you have, that's a big heavy weight pulling on you. What it also means is that for you to give up this, to be able to hire somebody, like let's say, you go and want to hire a VA or GHL expert, right? It's not as simple as say, why don't I just give these clients over to them? But it doesn't actually work that way because they're not going to know everything that went into these builds. They're not going to know all the customizations, right? They're not going to know what specific things were set up, what was changed and what wasn't changed. So what ends up happening is you as the founder, you don't just start having the weight of all these clients, you now also have the weight of this expert weighing you down and all of the burdens of them as well. And what we've ended up here with is it's the same amount of client weight, that knowledge that's necessary to know how to fix things, how to improve things and work on things. But now you have this complexity factor of having a VA that has to go to, and that person's now asking you questions, or they go and do something not knowing that they broke something and creating fires for you. And this is why hiring people is often not the solution to these problems, because as you add more and more team members, now these people, you now have to remember which VA knows about which client. And they either have to know who to go to in the company, or they have to end up going to you so that they're able to then go back to the VA and find the information they need, because now you don't know what's happening with these clients' accounts because someone else is doing it. And you can very quickly see how this becomes a big problem, right? It just becomes a mess. Like even just trying to map this out real simply here is it gets messy fast. So what is the solution? The solution is that we need a standardized set of processes for documenting what's happening in our accounts. And not only that, we want to be able to standardize what sort of work we do for our clients and what sort of work we don't do that's out of scope and more into that might be considered customized work, right? Because if you just have a snapshot, maybe a GHL account, and it's one process, and you could customize it to a certain extent for the 500 a month, 200 a month, 1,000 a month, whatever you're charging for. But there's a certain line that gets crossed where we have to say anything that's beyond this, we have to charge $1,000 per project because we're starting to manage what you see here, right? We're starting to having to manage all these different builds. Because what we really want to do is, if we wanted a simpler way of doing this, we'll just call this the builder, GHL builder. What we really want is, we want one process or snapshot. We want to manage that one snapshot, and every single client is managed the exact same way, right? Every single client managed the same way. This is a lot lighter. So we have every single client, but they've been compressed into one because they're really just one client. They have the same needs, the same customizations, and we need a very simple way of writing down whatever customizations happen. So if you end up having someone that comes in, like a VA or GHL expert, and you want to start offloading these clients, because let's be fair, let's say every single client, it's a lot bigger of a weight, but it's manageable. Now what we're able to do is saying, since we have one process and every single client, and now adding more team members in is actually adding more to our lifting capacity and not to the weight of what we have to manage. What it also then means is that if we have custom projects, we have these custom projects, because they're still going to happen. There's always little custom things, extra things that we have to do for clients. What that out means is that we can have either dedicated people managing these custom, and for that means we're going to charge more for it because it's outside of our process. So what we want to make sure is that if we're going to do things outside of our process, that we charge enough for it. This is stuff a lot of you already know, but how does this then get into documentation? You heard me saying this over and over. We need to be able to write things down, and we need a standardized way of writing things down. And for that, if you've been following any of my other trainings, you'll know that I recommend a very simple spreadsheet to get started, right? What we need is that we need to have our documentation of the things that we're working on, right? And these are all the things that might be in our snapshot, or if we're doing custom work, these are the things that we build. We need to manage, we need to write that stuff down, right? We need to know what it is, the description of what it is, what does it do? And we need to know what it takes to set this up or make it work. Those are the basics, right? And the goal is that we want to have, if we're talking about a single snapshot, we want to have the least amount of things that need to be customized, right? So in the setup notes, we actually don't want a lot of onboarding and setup notes, because the more setup notes means that there's more work that has to be done, more customization. There's more things that we have to remember to do. And that also means more things that are harder to update later on. So I hope you guys I just want to end the video there. I just want to let you guys just getting this concept of being able to understand that the problem that we're dealing with is a knowledge gap. We're dealing not just with processes, systems, blah, blah, but we're just simply speaking, we're saying that we have a knowledge problem. And the knowledge problem is that everything that we touch, that we don't have a systematic way of sharing that knowledge, is creating a heavy weight on our agency. And the solution to that is to have simple documentation as a process that the whole team uses. So that way, every single person is now able to follow that one process and manage everyone the same way. We don't have a separate client for every time we touch something and edit something differently there. So hopefully you guys found that useful. Let me know what you guys think, if you've had some challenges or if you've seen this problem in the wild, and how you guys have solved it.